Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. Now, firstly, I will just say that I'm a little bit late to this story and I was going to put it off, but I watched the entire button check episode where Ernesta went over what had happened with Hungrybox, and I wanted to give my 2 cents. Now, if you've already seen the button check video, my opinion of this is not going to vary too much. However, I do want to give my thoughts on this because we have been talking about the way people behave in the FGC and what rubs people the wrong way, what people find acceptable, and there's been a general conversation about being more welcoming. Now recently, Hungrybox was on stage playing Super Smash Bros. Melee. Still blows my mind that they're playing that game, but hats off to that community for keeping it alive for this long. That is honestly impressive. But he's on stage playing and I believe he reverse 3-0'd this guy. At the very least, it came down to the wire and he got very hype, and as you'll see in this clip, he popped off and he threw a chair on the stage.
And there it is! Oh, the chair! Oh my God! I called it, guys. What the hell? Not again! He's not gonna do it. But he reconsiders. But you thought about it for a second. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Hungrybox is done with the reverse 3-0. STJ.
Now when I saw the clip, I didn't get annoyed by it because I quite enjoy these sort of things at FGC events because I'm a very calm, mellow person, and so I don't do these sort of things. When I win a match, you will only ever see me maybe throw a 1-up in the air, salute the bloodline, wave at somebody in the crowd, something very tame. But I'm not the kind of person that jumps up and down. Even if I was to win a big tournament, it's just not in me to behave like that. However, I have no problem with other people getting hype. I think it's good to have multiple personalities, and it would be boring if everybody was like me. So when I saw Hungrybox throw the chair, I was like, lol, that's pretty hilarious. Now, if the people in charge are unhappy with that, then he's gonna have to go and say sorry, because it is a little bit childish to do, I will admit, but it's also entertaining. From what I understand, according to Hungrybox, the people that were running the tournament were completely fine with it, and as far as I'm concerned, if nobody was hurt, and if the people running the tournament were okay with it, then I don't have a problem with it. The only way I'd have an issue with it is if the tournament people came out and said, hey, those are our chairs, you've just broken, you can't behave like this, then there's an issue. If they're cool, I'm cool, because it was an entertaining clip.
And then first thing I did, I was like, hey, I walked up to Max Ketchum, one of the main TOs. I said, yo, what's the PayPal? I'll pay for the chair. I got you, don't worry about it. And they were just like, nah, man, I think you're good. Like, there's a lot of chairs here. So I was like, you just let me know if you need anything. So Gommel was surprisingly chill about it. In fact, they took me backstage and had me do a photo shoot with the chair in typical Juan-Tent fashion. And they were just good sports about it. And they told me that when I did that, the viewership spiked the highest it did up to that point. So, I don't know. That's kind of cool, I guess.
However, Twitter didn't see it this way. And from what I can see, the people complaining were not even at the event. Because from what I could see in the video, everybody was super hyped when Hungrybox won. Apparently it was the loudest reception that he had ever received. I imagine it was probably a high point of his Smash career.
Loudest cheer I've ever heard from a Smash crowd ever in my life when I did that.
Oh, no! The clown in the crowd! He's about to take his shirt off. If that is indicative at all of what... They're all cheering for Hungrybox! The year of the H-Box is here, folks.
And when I was watching it, I was entertained as well. So it seems like voices on the internet. So I've got a couple screenshots here that I'm going to read out to you guys and make some comments on. And then I'll give my overall opinion towards the end of the video. So you've got Leo Dickerson here saying, Hungrybox becoming more unlikable with every clip. Followed by Fawn of Time. God, he's such a loser. If any mid-level player got hype enough to throw a chair like this, they'd be kicked from the venue. Hate the top player favoritism. Now I'm just going to stop right there to comment on that particular screenshot. First, comment on there. If people don't like Hungrybox, that's up to them. I got no problem there whatsoever. Hungrybox is a grown man. People won't like him. People will like him. Same goes for me. Same goes for you watching the video. My issue comes with the second comment made by Fawn of Time there. Now, people might not like that I'm about to say this, but whether you like it or not, this is a reality of any situation. Any situation where you've got high level competition, any situation where you've got people that are of high status. It doesn't even have to be to do with video games. I'll give you guys a very good example of this. Most of you here watch wrestling. Most of you here know who The Rock is. When The Rock came back to the WWE earlier this year, he was dropping the F-bomb left, right and center, and there were some wrestlers that didn't like it, and they didn't like it because they're not allowed to use the F-bomb. You only get a certain amount of F-bombs on TV, I think, for some TV shows, but The Rock being The Rock, almost 400 million followers on Instagram, the biggest movie star in the world, one of the most recognizable people on earth, he's going to have certain liberties because of the amount amount of power and the amount of weight his name carries. So some people didn't like this. Why is he allowed to do it and I'm not? And the simple answer is, whether you like it or not, is that he is The Rock, and within his field, which just happens to be everything at this point, The Rock can kind of do whatever he wants. Obviously there are limits to things. If he's breaking a law, then obviously we're not talking about those things before anyone says anything silly. But within the realms of sports entertainment, within the realms of movies, there are certain things that The Rock is going to be allowed to do that other people won't. A, because he generates a lot of money, so the company is going to turn a blind eye to certain things. Again, if it's anything that is over the top, breaking the laws, and of course I'm not on the side of that. And B, he puts asses in seats. Now in Hungrybox's situation, Hungrybox is one of the best Melee players. For as long as I have been aware of Super Smash Bros., Hungrybox has been a household name, and for as long as I've been aware of Super Smash Bros. Competitions, Hungrybox has been winning, and this guy has been playing the same character since I don't know when. I don't even know how he could stomach playing Jigglypuff, so hats off to him for that. But being the leader of a team, I think he might own some sort of team, maybe Team Liquid, I'm not entirely sure. His name carries some sort of weight, so yes, he's a top player. So yes, top players and top movie stars and top musicians, not P. Diddy things before anyone says that, but top musicians get away with certain things. It's not a case of you liking it, it's not a case of you agreeing with it. That is the reality of the situation. The only way you can change these sort of things is to be somebody that's in a position of power that says, no, I don't want you doing these things, and then people have to sort of kowtow to the power. It's just the way it is. I'm not even saying that I agree with it, that's just the way it is. And to be honest with you, I don't really mind it. Again, if you're not doing something insane, then I ain't got an issue with it. And I enjoy the hype pop-offs. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Now yeah, as a mid-level player, if you smashed the chair and broke it, and you didn't have that relationship with the tournament organizers the way Hungrybox does, yeah, maybe you won't be able to get away with it. I can tell you right now, I've made friends in the FGC, and I've made friends outside of it in certain fields, and I know that I can get away with certain things that others might not be able to. That is just a fact of life. That's what it's like when you have friends on the inside. That's just the way it is. I'm not even trying to make this out like I am some sort of high-level member of the Freemasons or some stuff. It's not like that, but we all have friends, and if our friends are in certain positions of power, they will let us do certain things. It's not just the FGC, it's everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you will encounter this. Favoritism exists, accept it, and find ways to circumnavigate it rather than bitching about it. I know that I encountered favoritism with certain people, and they got picked for certain things when I was younger, and I had to find ways around it. It is what it is. Wombat says, if I basically, a nobody in the Melee scene, did that, I would get banned for damaging venue property. But Hungrybox presses the buttons good, so he can do whatever he wants. Yep, that's the unfortunate reality of it. You're within the fighting game medium, and so pressing buttons very good, and being somebody that has a successful YouTube channel within the realms of pressing buttons very good, is going to be good business for the people that have Hungrybox at their events. So yes, they're going to favor him. Now again, before anyone says anything dumb, there are limits to these things. But if the tournament organizers were okay with this, then they're okay with it. I can tell you right now, I have some friends that work within the fighting game community or operate within the fighting game community. I have some friends that operate in other gaming communities, and yes, if I went and smashed the chair, they might pull me aside and be like, hey Mike, could you not do that again? But I've got a long relationship with these people. They're going to say, cool, no problem. But if you do it, somebody that's new there, somebody that doesn't really know their way around, maybe somebody that has not done particularly well, maybe somebody that's an unknown, you may not like it. It may sound like things you don't want to hear, but that is just the way it is. See, the way I look at things is, am I able to change it, or can I make some sort of impact on it? And if the answer is no, then I don't even bother worrying about it, because what is the point? You may as well just get on with things. Fizz Sama says, this is true in every profession. The people at the top get to do pretty much whatever they want. It's wild. Yeah, I'm not even saying that I agree with it. It's just a reality of life. Now for the fourth time, there are limits obviously. If Hungrybox had taken that chair and launched it into the crowd, we'd be having a very, very different conversation here. But nobody was hurt, and they didn't mind that he did that. And this is where we get to the part of the conversation where things really took a turn, and I have more of a grievance with some of the tweets that are going to be shown in this video going forward. So SLK Fish says, I hate Hungrybox's excessive pop-offs. Scream and jump, that's fine, good job you won. But like, don't throw your chair across the stage, be an adult. Now as far as I'm concerned, SLK Fish, if you're not tournament organizer, then mind your own business. If the chair's not hitting anybody, mind your own business. The tournament organizers will deal with Hungrybox if they feel like he is violating their property. They didn't feel like that, so why are you so bothered about it? The man's very emotional. We've seen him on stage before. This is how he behaves. Everybody's personalities are different. Of course, there are limits to things, as we said multiple times. I feel like I have to reiterate it because somebody's going to say, oh, what if he diddled children? Yeah, if he diddled children, then okay. Being a top level player is not going to protect you. And then Hungrybox replies with, suck my dick. which is the oldest insult in the book, but it's effective, it's to the point. He obviously didn't appreciate what SLK Fish was saying. I'm pretty much in the same boat. Now, I probably wouldn't have said suck my dick, I probably would have just ignored it if I was him. I might not have used suck my dick as a response, but I understand why he did. And then this is where it gets really dumb. Pastilla says, a top melee player punching down like this is a prime example of what's wrong within the scene. Using your platform to say this to a woman in the scene is gross, and anyone cheering you on for it is gross too. Now, as long as I've been on this planet, suck my dick has been a universal response to somebody that you don't like or is pissing you off. It has nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with sex, nothing to do with race, nothing to do with religion, creed, walk of life, doesn't matter. Suck my dick is a universal insult the same way fuck you is. So bringing the gender of this individual into the conversation really makes no sense whatsoever. And also, this punching down thing is something that I hate. If you say something to somebody, it doesn't matter if you have 1 follower or 1 million, you should be expecting a response. Don't just think because you have no following or you have a smaller following than somebody like Hungrybox or whoever it might be, that you are now immune from a clapback. I can't stand people like this. If you put yourself on the internet the same way I do, this video could get me multiple clapbacks. I can't then turn around and say, oh, so and so's got 500,000 subscribers or is a very well-known person in the scene. Let's say, for example, it's Tokido, random name, that claps back at me. I can't go, oh, you're Tokido, why are you attacking me? I'm nobody. Shut the fuck up. I hate people like this. They drive me up the wall. Stop being a victim. You opened your mouth. It's the same way if you were in public. If you said that in public and somebody turned around to respond to you, your response can't be, hey, don't punch down on me. Hey, how about you don't say anything? Trey says, shit talks person, they talk back, he's punching down. Oh Lord heaven, the heckin' power imbalance. That's exactly it. Perfect tweet. Trey is spot on. Explosion says, everyone pressed about it will then later complain that esports players have no personality and aren't fun to watch. Yeah, exactly. How many times have we heard esports players are boring, they're robotic? You start talking shit to them and he gives you a human response and then you're saying don't punch down. And then Hungrybox tweets out saying, so I made this tweet yesterday to Fish after the intense win during GOML top 8. A lot of the time when someone hurls an insult at me, I have the tendency to bite back or shit talk back, as you should. When it's directly after a win similar to a pop-off, I usually have adrenaline rushing and I'm much more likely to do or say something really dumb or cringe. I don't look at follow accounts, I don't look at bios, and many times I just do it to blow off steam. However, it would be remiss to not acknowledge the responsibility one holds when having a large following and the effects it has. Just by me quote retweeting this, I suddenly saw people making transphobic comments towards them, insulting their personal character or them being a TO, and bringing in stuff that isn't really part of any of this. Please don't do that. That's never the point of me biting back or being defensive. I've always been someone who doesn't take criticism lightly, but there's much better ways of me going about it. I feel that regardless, when you amass a following that reaches a certain level, you're always going to have bad eggs that stain the whole bunch. I think I need to set a better example of these things and stop punching down, or maybe stop punching in general in these kinds of ways. I can gallivant all I want about me throwing a chair, but when this kind of stuff happens is when I realize don't feel proud about myself at all. My apologies to Fish. Now, a couple things here. If Hungrybox finds what he did cringe, no problem with that whatsoever. I don't personally find what he did cringe. I also don't know why the whole transgender thing has come into it, because like I said, suck my dick is a universal clapback to anybody. That is not an attack on trans people. If people took what Hungrybox said and then used that as a way to attack this trans individual, those people are also idiots. But the insult itself, and I saw a lot of tweets under here saying that it's transphobic to say suck my dick to a trans person, which it's not. It has the same level of impact that it would on anybody. It's a universal insult the same way FU is. But again, if Hungrybox finds what he did to be cringe, then I have no problems with that. That's his prerogative. That's the way he sees things. I don't see it that way. I do see it as if you say something to somebody, you should be aware they have a larger following than you and they have the right to clap back. You can't police every single person that follows you, and you are not responsible for every single person that follows you. The only time you become responsible is when you directly tell your followers to go and attack somebody. Unless you are given instructions like you're Captain Owen about to go fight some Titan and we're gonna go and attack this person, then no, it's not your responsibility. I don't believe in that at all. And that doesn't mean that you can't police your community. I'd be lying if I said that I haven't had to step in a couple of times when there's been some things that have been said amongst people that I know, but it doesn't mean that you are responsible for every single person. You can't be. Sometimes you'll step in when you feel it's the right thing to do, and sometimes you just gotta wash your hands of it. I think think people should be more responsible with their Twitter accounts, and when they see a large following, maybe think twice about just saying whatever you want to say. You can't control hundreds of thousands of people. Some people have parasocial relationships to people on the internet, and so you should be aware of that before you open your mouth. You can't have it both ways. I know that if I go and tweet now and say something about PewDiePie or Ethan Klein or Fresh and Fit or Aberrant Preach or whoever it might be, a big personality on the internet, I know that my DMs and my page is going to be full of their supporters. I can't then turn around and say, hey, police your community. No, it doesn't work like that. SLK Fish replied saying, I really appreciate you taking the time to make a public apology like this, and I'm glad you're reflecting on the situation so heavily. I do hope that this apology doesn't just erase what happened in everyone's mind or make people think your reaction was okay. Hungrybox then said, thank you, and now that's why I left the screenshot up so people and myself are reminded what not to do in that situation. It looks to me like Hungrybox has just taken the high road. He has money to make, he has a following, he probably doesn't want to get into any deep water with anything, but in my opinion this tweet is a load of bullshit. Where is the accountability? Like Ernesto Lopez said, where is the accountability from this SLK Fish person that decided to open their mouth? No accountability whatsoever. You made a comment about this man, he claps back at you, and then he's the one that says sorry. You don't say, hey, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said as well, and you both go your separate ways. In my opinion, Hungrybox has done nothing wrong here. I'm completely on his side. Sareem says, holy shit, man, not everything is this deep. You've done way too much good for the community to get this scrutinized for somebody coming after you. All is fair in love and trash talk, plus they'll never see you in a bracket anyway, so why even give them the time of day? Safari says, it was obvious that it was posted in the heat of the moment and was not the misogynistic comment people tried to make it look like. The people joining in by doing transphobic comments were way more cringe and despicable. People will use certain situations to push whatever narrative they want to push. We've seen it before. I've seen it in my own comment sections. I might make a comment about something and then people take it as an opportunity to attack a certain type of people, and it's not what I was talking about at all. It's not Hungrybox's responsibility. It's your responsibility as the person with the lesser following than Hungrybox to look at the situation and maybe next time approach it a bit more respectfully, because we know people can be rabid. If you've got thick skin, then by all means go at it. Say whatever you want to say to people, because obviously you have thick skin, you're not going to care. But if you're of thin skin and you're going to start making out like suck my dick is a misogynistic thing, you're an idiot as far as I'm concerned. It's not misogynistic, it's not transphobic, it's not homophobic, it's not anything phobic. It's the oldest cuss in the book. Now, pop-offs have been a thing in the FGC for as long as I can remember. They have come in all shapes and sizes. Some have been outrageous, some have been really funny, and they're always going to be a thing. Now, in my opinion, again, Hungrybox did nothing wrong. And this idea that you need to behave a certain way to appease people that are not even in the fucking venue is ridiculous. We're all adults here. We understand that if Hungrybox had launched that chair at somebody's head, we'd have a problem. Hungrybox would have a real problem, but he didn't. And the people in charge said it's cool, no problem. He even offered to sort them out with the money. They said no problem, don't worry about it, we actually enjoyed the moment. So if they ain't got a problem with it, I don't know why you have. Hungrybox, if you see this video by any chance, throw more chairs. As long as the tournament organizer is okay with it, as long as nobody gets hit, throw more chairs. They can't tell you what to do. They're not your parents, they're not the police, they're just imbeciles on the internet. You cannot like certain things. I ain't saying that. That's perfectly fine. There's been some pop-offs that I've seen. I remember one with some tall white dude with long hair was getting in, I believe, Scar's face at a Mortal Kombat tournament, and I thought that was pretty cringe, but I wouldn't walk up to him and say, hey, you can't do that. He can do whatever he wants. And Scar replied by throwing up the Stone Cold Steve Austins in his face, and that was that. But if I had gone on Twitter and behaved like this individual and got clapped back for it, would anybody feel sorry for me? And then to use misogynistic and transphobic talking points as a ways to get the man to apologize, pathetic in my opinion. Now, I know some people will disagree with me on this video, and I know it's somewhat of an old story, but I didn't get around to talking about it, and I was watching the situation play out. So that's what I think about it. Let me know what you guys think about the situation. Do you find FGC pop-offs to be cringe, particularly ones of this nature, or do you think we should just let it rock as long as nobody's getting physically hurt? I'd like to hear from you. Anyways, guys, take care, have a good day, and peace.